Let me strike a proper pose. The reality is you live for these moments. I know that I do. But what most folks don't show you is what it takes to get to these moments. We're coming into the time of the year when it's dark at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And while I have found a nice free place to park, everyone's fantasy, I still have no guarantee that I won't get a knock. Now, I think this will be all right. I haven't had any problems so far on this trip, but I am basically in a deserted location sitting on the edge of Lake Erie. While it's nice to have that morning view and stick your feet out and watch the birds and all of that, the night before is basically nothing but I can't even hear the waves for the wind. And luckily this is going to be a warm night, a warm fall night, because I can tell you the way I have this van turned, I can every single place that air can possibly enter this vehicle, because of the speed that wind is blowing, it is coming in. So if this was a cold night, I would have trouble staying warm. And I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because the fact is I'm enjoying this. I enjoy this 95% of the time. And I'm probably happier here than I would be in a nice hotel room, because I got to do plenty of that for many, many years. And I got to where I despise it. I despise having to drag everything out of the car into a hotel room. Your nicer hotels, you're having to deal with across a 300-yard lobby and into a bank of elevators and up so many floors and back out of the elevator and walking down some long corridor. And every time you want to go outside for anything, you have to reverse that. Whereas here, I can just open the door and step out. And I'm closing in on the longest trip that I have ever been on. Now, I am not full time. I have played around with this for 6 or 7 years. I have had multiple trips that were a month, a little bit longer than a month. This is going to be the longest one. Do I miss some people at home? Yes, but that wouldn't be any different if I was in a luxury hotel room every night and I was gone. 1,400 miles roughly I have driven on this trip so far, and I figure more than likely I will double that mileage by the end of the trip, even though I'm moving at a pretty slow pace. If you break that down into an average, I'm probably only doing 40 miles a day maybe. But back to what I guess was the original point, is that the reality of being in places sometimes, not wanting to draw a lot of attention to yourself at night, and as you head into fall and winter, these nights get longer and longer and longer. And the fantasy is that everyone's around a campfire every night with their new friends they've met, enjoying their beverages, talking until the wee hours of the morning. And that does happen sometimes. And that's the part that makes it all worthwhile. But for you guys and gals that are doing this and have done this for long periods of time, let me and everyone else know down in the comments what you think the worst part to deal with of van life or small RV happens to be. And as always, if you're new to this, feel free to put any comments. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'll do whatever I can to answer your questions and help you get on your way to your own adventures. And I think they'll be enjoyable for you as long as you have realistic expectations. And with that said, We'll talk soon.